Greetings heretics and welcome to Warhammer 40k Eternal Crusade. This is an early access review of a code provided to me by BHVR Studios, or Behaviour Studios. These guys have been working on this game now for a couple of years. It had a founders program originally that got a lot of the early cash in to get the game developed, and it's recently launched on Steam Early Access, which is what I'm currently playing it on now. The game is playing in a kind of PlanetSide-esque style MMO, with players picking from factions. At launch there'll be 4 in total. There'll be the Space Marines, which you see here, the Chaos Space Marines, Orcs and Eldar. Currently in the Early Access Alpha there are Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines to choose from, with 5 classes ranging from Tactical Marines, which for the uninitiated are basically your most common type of Marines, armed with more versatile weapons for all kinds of occasions, such as bolters, which are a type of assault rifle, pistols, storm bolters, and all that good stuff, nice grenades and combat knives. You have the Devastators, which are your heavy weapons group, who fire things like missile launchers, massive laser cannons for taking out vehicles. They also have like giant fucking machine guns. It's great stuff. After that you have the Apothecary and the Assault, so the Apothecary being the medic class, although the Space Marines have a different class from the Chaos Space Marines, who have Sorcerers. You'll see a bit of footage of them later. And the mechanics for both of them work a bit differently, with Apothecaries being a bit more in the traditional healing role, and Sorcerers being a little bit different, more toward the chaos aspect of things. You can see the Apothecary here. And finally you have the Assault Marines, which are jetpack equipped Marines, which you saw earlier. Basically they focus on being able to dive into combat using their jetpacks and crashing down to the ground. They come more equipped for a good melee scrap, and throwing things like high impact grenades and anti-vehicle grenades and that kind of thing. And then you have lastly of the ground Assault Marine, which is equipped with a sword and shield, or an axe and shield. Again, there are multiple weapon selections. The game is aiming to give you a lot of customization in terms of how your characters will be equipped, and you can change these loadouts before going into a match. You can make say you can make a Tactical Marine who's more geared toward anti-vehicle combat rather than anti-infantry combat, so you take a plasma rifle. You could make an Assault Marine that's more about getting in there and throwing frag grenades around and using a more powerful melee attack weapon. You can have things like power fists and the such. There's some really cool stuff that they've brought in already, and this is the alpha stage. And the plan later on is that there's going to be more customization. You can be able to alter your Space Marine, Eldar, and Orcs armor, giving them your own little custom touch, different helmets and the like. The weapons will have other things like scopes and other attachments that will further allow you to customise your weapon builds however you feel, although they aren't currently in the early access content. At the moment you can only really customise weapon loadouts for weapons that are currently in the game and available, but later on, yeah, there'll be a lot more to choose from as things go on. You'll also be able to equip other things like accessories to your character that might give certain like buffs or like sort of area denial, but AoE effects, that kind of thing, depending on the class you're playing. The systems haven't been completely fleshed out yet, and from what I've been reading from the devs, who are very active and in keeping everyone up to speed with exactly what's happening around the offices, I can only see there being good things. That said, there are a few issues at the moment. If you're an AMD user, apparently there are a few little niggles with the AMD aspect of things. When it first launched in early access, AMD users were getting very low frame rates, or none at all. BHVR have done a really good job though with the most recent patches as of this post, and getting that playable for AMD users, which is a really great thing to hear. While Intel users seem relatively unaffected, they have been patching voraciously. There has been at least one new patch a week, and that's the plan going forward, so there'll be constant iteration, optimization, and new things added. They've even been stress testing the game. Currently early access servers are running about 16v16 or 32 players maximum, but the tests have been going upwards of 48 and 64, so on the battlefield kind of things. The plan going closer to launch is that it'll be more like PlanetSide, with huge continental maps that you'll be fighting across. These maps at the moment are obviously on the face of things, more traditional Battlefield 3 or 4 style inside, with multiple objectives to capture. Gameplay, as I said, is all from the third-person perspective, which I think is a nice choice, because as we all know with Warhammer and Warhammer 40k, it's all about the figures and painting them and the such. So being able to see the characters running around, it's kind of evocative of the tabletop kind of experience of seeing your little character there. And they animate beautifully. There's some great voice work currently, and I'd like to see a few more lines, as they're a little bit repetitive on the spawn lines, but just the fact that they have a button for battle cry, which is awesome. There are some brutal executions that you can put in there as well. There's like it reminds me of the Dawn of War series, where your squads would get some really, really nice kills. These do the same thing. You get downed, and when you're in the down state, if you don't bleed out, a player can press E, and you're about to see one. You know, stuff like that. It's like get knifed in the throat, eviscerated with a chainsaw. They're all up there. It's going to be pretty nasty. And I assume the different races will have different styles of kill as well, depending on their weapons. Orcs I'm really looking forward to. The vehicle combat is also present in the game. Currently there's basically Chaos Rhinos, Space Marine Rhinos, and Chaos Vindicators and Space Marine Vindicators. More vehicles are expected to be added, although I believe Dreadnoughts and Killer Cans and those kind of things won't be in the game at launch. Other classes are also going to be added, don't worry. The Terminators are definitely on their way, alongside the Orc and Eldar varieties of those also being brought in at some point. I think at the moment they're going to try and focus on getting the core kind of infantry combat with some of the vehicle stuff fixed and working 100% before they start going into the more outlandish units like the Dreadnought class, of course, but it'd be really nice to see them. This footage was also captured at the maximum settings at the time of recording. There are currently not any key bindings, but again there's going to be another patch and that'll allow you to key bind, so don't worry if you do buy it and you can't edit your keys, you will be able to. Also, other things to keep in mind is that obviously this being an alpha, not all the maps are going to be 100% optimized. There are going to be little niggles every now and then, frame drops or even a bit of lag. They're on one shared server experience at the moment, which I believe is North America, so if you're having ping issues with playing games in North America, if you're in, say, oceanic regions and the such, I don't think you're going to get a completely smooth experience. I mean, I'm playing from the UK. It's generally pretty good. As I said, the few maps that are available, only one of them I have any real issues with, and I think that's a relatively new map or unoptimized at the moment. But my experience so far has been relatively smooth. I haven't had many technical issues. The 64-player test did crash once with a fatal exception, but again, it's to be expected with any alpha product. So the game also has multiple modes of play at the moment. There's the tug of war mode, where basically the attacking team has to capture the different points to end the map, whereas the defenders have to hold out for a certain time. There are also sort of spawn point based versions where all the spawn points are up for grabs, and it's basically just a race to grab them and fill a meter, again attacking and defending. There's also a kind of siege type mode as well, where there's a large structure or fortification that has to be taken, and the attackers have to get inside and capture all the points to, again, fill up a bar. Relatively straightforward stuff, but it works. It keeps the action flowing in one particular area, and yeah, when they get the bullets flying and the melee combat and all the rest of it, it's really, really, really immersing yourself in the environment of 40k. It's quite fun. Melee combat is it's a little bit hard to get used to at first, but once you get the sort of mechanics of it down, fights can become a real quick test of reactions, and I'd say to an extent skill. There's a rock paper scissors system working for melee weapons, with faster weapons being more effective against heavier melee weapons, so you can kind of counter them a lot quicker, whereas heavier ones obviously do more damage, but they're a bit slower to swing. And some melee weapons are designed to destroy vehicles, while some are also designed to destroy and take out infantry armor quicker. So as I said, there's lots to do in the customization thing. Even at this stage, you can mess around with your builds and come up with plenty of different things to play as. As far as things like character creation go, they give you 4 slots at the start, so presumably you're going to want one for every race. I mean, Chaos and Space Marines is a given, but when they add Eldar, which apparently is coming soon, you should be able to make an Eldar character and mess around with their builds and everything else, so really looking forward to that. I'd say one of the issues you could say its price at the moment is $31.99. It's 20% off the maximum, which is they had a bit of an issue with the Steam store, and they've permanently reduced it now to $31.99. It can seem a bit pricey, but don't worry, the early access thing isn't to keep the game funded. They are 100% funded. The game is going to be made. This early access stage is just to get more people in to test the servers and the likes, and so far it seems to be going quite well. The servers don't seem to be dead at any time. I've played it multiple times during the day, and early morning, afternoon and evening. There's always been a game, relatively quick to find. I've not seen anything else like this for the Warhammer universe, especially for 40k. I'm sure it's something that a lot of people have been hoping for. I really enjoy it. I think as they begin to add more and more features to the early access and eventually go into their beta, it's just going to get better. As I said, there's always going to be technical issues. It is an alpha. I can't stress that enough. If you want to get into this, be prepared for the possibility of bad frame rates or lag or crashing and such. There's no guarantee that any of this stuff is actually going to be working 100% smoothly for you. But as I said, BHVR are aggressively patching the game, adding new stuff, fixing and optimizing. And I mean, an example of that is the work that they've done recently to get AMD users playing on a pretty good frame rate. I mean, I've read reports on the Steam discussion board of people who once had 18 to 20 frames going up to 30 to 50 frames. So it's all good. So I'll put a link in at the bottom of this video if you want to check it out on the Steam store. Put a link in for the website for Eternal Crusade, and yeah, if you're a fan of 40k, I think you'd really like this. It's got a hell of a lot of potential. I've got a lot of faith in the studio due to their work on Star Citizen as well. They've done some beautiful ground environments, some rough textures here and there graphically on some areas, but the actual characters themselves look great. The voice work's fantastic, animations are beautiful, the maps they look straight out of White Dwarf or any kind of diorama you can imagine, with all those kind of industrial, dark industrial environments that just evoke this like really horrible, gritty future for humanity, like constantly fighting. So yeah, this video is coming to an end. I hope that this has given you enough information, and have a look. And I'll be doing more videos as we go along, so thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you again to BHVR for providing me the early access copy to have a look at. And yeah, everyone, have a good week. Critical Rocket, signing out.